What I have here is a little Honda GX31 four-stroke engine. It's used to power this mountain bike bicycle, and the engine uses a diaphragm type carburetor. The carburetor has no air-fuel mixture screws at all. The only adjustment you can do on the carburetor is just the idle speed. So the problem I'm having with this engine is it'll start, but it doesn't accelerate smoothly, and I think the reason why is because the engine's been sitting for about 4 years, and the rubber diaphragms inside the carburetor just lost their flexibility. Also, I noticed another problem when I was looking at the engine on the outside here. This clear line here is your return fuel line, and this black line is your main fuel line. And both these lines are leaking, they're cracked, and the reason they're cracked is because the rubber is just hard and it's lost its flexibility, so when you try to move the lines they crack. I'll try and zoom in here so you can see the crack on the black fuel line. You can see it there. It's right before where the line attaches to the carburetor. So what I'm going to do next is disconnect these fuel lines and remove the carburetor. First thing I need to do is remove the air filter cover and the air filter. The air filter cover locks in at the bottom, and there's a clip on top here. You just press in these clips, pull this out, and then lift the cover off. To get the air filter, this is the foam air filter element, you just pull it off. And before I loosen up these two connecting nuts here, I need to loosen up the carburetor and remove the throttle cable. Here is the throttle cable linkage here. Before I take the carburetor off, I'm just going to loosen this up and pull it out so it doesn't restrict me from pulling the carburetor off of the engine. And then after I get the carburetor off, I can deal with disconnecting the cable. Since the fuel lines are cracked anyway and they need to be replaced, I'm just going to take a pair of dikes and cut them off. Now I'm ready to remove the carburetor, so take off these two nuts that hold the carburetor to the engine. I can pull this whole piece off. There's an O-ring here. You don't want to lose that. I think I have a replacement in the rebuild kit. So now I can pull the carburetor off and deal with this throttle cable, which you just push it out and then lift it off. So there's the carburetor. Okay, here's my carburetor. With the carburetor off, I can easily remove these leftover fuel line, which pretty easily comes off. There's that one. This one was much harder. I had to cut off camera. I cut a slit in this so it would separate, and I can pull it off of the carburetor. It's kind of stuck, so that's taken care of. First thing I'm going to remove is the throttle body assembly, which is right here. But in order to get access to this screw here, I need to loosen up this idle speed screw. And I want to count how many rotations it takes to how many rotations I rotate the screw out so that I can return it to the same position when I reassemble it. So go. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Four turns out will give me access to that throttle body screw. So I can remove the throttle body screws. and lift that off of the carburetor. And set that aside. This part of the carburetor right here is called the pump body, and the fuel pump diaphragm is located at the top of this pump body, and the metering diaphragm is just below it. So the next step is to remove this assembly here, and it's held on by four screws. I can remove the screws and set them aside. If you don't have a carburetor diaphragm, you can just disassemble the carburetor and lay the parts out in order so you know how to reassemble everything. So that's what I'm going to do here. This is my purge bulb, and then this metal piece is my purge bulb cover. After you remove the 4 screws, you can just remove this, set it aside. This is my air purge body. Just remove this, you can set that aside. On top of the air purge body, you have your metering diaphragm, and on top of that you have a metering diaphragm gasket, and they're usually stuck together and come off as one piece, which they do here. I'm going to set that aside. This is the main pump body of the carburetor. Inside here I have the metering lever. Below that is a metering lever spring, metering lever pin, and my inlet needle. And if I remove that, on the other side I have my inlet screen here. I'll deal with this later. I'm just going to set that aside. And on top of that piece I have my pump diaphragm and my pump diaphragm gasket, which comes off as 2-piece, and I'm just going to set those aside. Now I'm going to take my pump body and remove my metering lever. The way I do that is I have to remove this screw right here. The screw is called a metering lever pin screw, and just loosen that up and just take it all the way out. And once you got that out, you can remove your this is your metering lever, the metering lever pin, and there's a spring below this. Remove those. There's your spring, don't lose that. And then your inlet needle is right here. And then on the other side of this is a check valve. This is the main reason why you don't want to use carb cleaner on diaphragm type carburetors. You know, aside from the fact that carb cleaner will destroy plastic parts, it will destroy. You run the risk of destroying these check valves. So yeah, don't use carburetor cleaner on these. And on the main carburetor body, there's a spring here which you don't want to lose. This is your fuel pump diaphragm spring, so be careful about that. That right there is your main jet. I don't think my main jet is clogged, so I'm not going to disassemble that. So I'm just going to leave that in the carburetor body. Now that I have everything pretty much disassembled, I'm going to take this piece, and this piece. I'm going to remove this pump spring, set that aside, and I'm going to put it in a ultrasonic cleaner with some water and Simply Green, and let it soak for about an hour, and run the cleaner a few times. I don't think that there's any debris or anything inside of these carburetor parts, but I'm just going to do it anyway just in case. So When I'm done with that, I'll be back. Okay, I got these parts out of the ultrasonic cleaner. I used some low pressure compressed air to clean them out or dry them off. On the main jet, on your main carburetor body, which would be right here, you can use low pressure compressed air to clean that out. If you question whether or not it's clean, what you can do is take your fingers, cover up 2 of the holes here, and take a flashlight, place it over the 3rd hole, and turn the light on, and you should be able to see light through the main jet. And if you can, then it's clean. The next thing we want to do is take the pump body, and on the back of the pump body, right here is an inlet screen. This screen is there to catch any debris that's in the fuel that the main fuel filter missed. I'm just going to use a pair of a pick, kind of work this out of here. And my carburetor kit came with a new spring, which I'm going to put in here. And I'm going to use the end of a drill bit to insert it. You don't want to, make sure you use a drill bit that's pretty close to the actual diameter of the screen, and then just gently press it in here. Next thing I want to do is take my pump body, my new inlet needle, reinstall my inlet needle. Where'd it go? Right here. Put in my metering lever spring, take my metering lever and my metering lever pin, and try and get them in there without and once you have them in there, you can reinstall your metering lever pin holding screw. Now that I have this metering lever installed, I need to measure, I need to make sure that this metering lever is adjusted correctly, and I need to measure from the top of the metering lever here to the top of this pump body. The distance should be between 53 and 65 thousandths of an inch. If I'm out of that range, I can adjust this metering lever up or down to get it within that 53 and 65 thousandths of an inch. I'm going to be using some dial calipers to take the measurement. The easiest way that I've found to do it is to use my steel rule. I know that the thickness of my steel rule is 34 thousandths of an inch. I'm going to place it on top of the pump body, and I'm going to be using this part of my dial calipers. I'm going to rest this on top of the steel rule and extend it until it just touches the top of the metering lever, and I get a measurement of 94 thousandths. 94 thousandths minus 34 thousandths is 60 thousandths, so 60 thousandths is within that 53 and 65 thousandths of an inch, so it's adjusted correctly. Okay, now I'm ready to reinstall everything, but before I do, I wanted to show you this fuel pump diaphragm and how rigid it is. They get this way over time, and especially if you don't use the equipment. And when it gets like this, they need to be replaced. Here's the new diaphragm. See how flexible it is. But anyway, take your carburetor body, take your fuel pump spring, place it back in the carburetor body. Take your fuel pump gasket, place it on the carburetor body. Take your fuel pump diaphragm. I have to deal with this spring sticking up, so just place the diaphragm over the gasket and try and line it up the best you can. Then take your pump body and place it over the diaphragm. Then you want to make sure that you didn't bend anything or bend the diaphragm where you're putting it on, so just kind of go around it and check to make sure that it's still lined up. Now take your metering diaphragm gasket, place it over the pump body. Take your that's the old one. Take the new metering diaphragm, place it over the gasket, and then take the purge body and place it over the metering diaphragm. Then you can reinstall your purge bulb and the purge bulb cover, and then reinstall the 4 screws. And tighten it down. And that's that. Okay, so now I'm ready to reinstall the throttle body. The throttle body, or the throttle stop screw, should be pointing in the same direction as your return fuel line tube. It should be pointing in the same direction, coming out on the same side of the carburetor. So the throttle body goes on like this. And then just align the holes and reinstall the screws. And tighten them down. And then make sure that the throttle valve works correctly, moves freely. Then remember, I turned the screw out 4 times, so I'm going to turn it back in 4 times so it's back in its original position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And also I got a new O-ring, so I'm going to take that off and put the new one on. And this carburetor is ready to go back on. Unfortunately, I don't have new fuel line with me, and I also got a new fuel filter that I don't have with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here, and then next time I will, in the next video, I will reinstall the carburetor, reinstall the new fuel lines, and put in the new fuel filter and start up the engine for you on video. So yeah, I'm going to end this right here, and in the next video, which I won't wait very long, I'll do it in, hopefully I'll do it this weekend and upload it before Monday. So yeah, so I hope you liked the video, and thanks for watching.